Hey guys, I'm AfroGeek PlusUltraNappy and welcome back to a brand new video. So in today's video, I'm going to be covering a DC superhero that I absolutely love. And you see I got the Batman shirt on, so you already know it's none other than my boy, Superman. So in today's video, I'm going to be talking to you guys about a Batman animated series, but not Batman the animated series or the new Batman Adventures. I'm going to be talking to you, voice cracked. I'm going to be talking to you guys about a Batman series that was out in the year 2039, or at least this Batman was from the year 2030. Anyway, the series I'm going to be talking to you guys about is Batman Beyond, but not the complete series altogether, because god, that would take freaking ever. I'm talking to you guys about the first season of Batman Beyond. I figured since it's, October, it's kind of Halloween, I figured, why not have a Batman video on the channel? So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this review on Season 1 of Batman Beyond. The original run of Batman Beyond was from January 10th, 1999 to December 18th, 2001. So it has a total of 52 episodes with a direct-to-video movie titled Batman Beyond Return of the Joker, which apparently is popular by a lot of Batman fans. Would you believe I have yet to see that movie? I own it on DVD, and now I own it on Blu-ray because I got the Batman Beyond Blu-ray complete series limited edition thingy. So if you haven't seen that video and you want to check it out, I'll leave a link in the description below so that way you guys can go check out the video. I would highly recommend watching it. So its original network was on Kids WB. Now for me growing up, this was not a show I watched on Kids WB. The show was released when I was 2 years old, so obviously I'm not going to be watching Kids WB at the age of 2. I would say I watched the reruns of it. So the series before Batman Beyond was the new Batman Adventures. Now this one was also on Kids WB, and this was after Batman the Animated Series that aired on Fox Kids. And I did not watch the new Batman Adventures. To be honest with you, I didn't even know that existed until this year. I legit did not know that was even a series. And I know some of you guys are like,
oh man, you're just a fake Batman fan. You're not a real Batman fan if you've never seen that.
I mean, sure, yeah, I've never seen it, but it's also, I grew up in an era where I was young when a lot of these shows came out, and some of this stuff I didn't see when it first aired. So in this series, you got an excellent voice cast. You got Will Friedle, Terry McGiggins, aka Batman #2. And then you got the man, the one and only true voice of Batman, Kevin Conroy, as Bruce Wayne / OG Batman. And then you got my homegirl, one of my favorite female voice actresses, Cree Summer as Maxine, aka Max Gibson. You got Lauren Tom as Dana Tan. You got Frank Welker as Ace. And then you got Sherman Howard as Derek Powers / Blight. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump on in the episodes. So we start off with part 1 of the episode Rebirth, and it takes place in the year 2019. Obviously, Bruce Wayne is a lot older than what he was. He has failing health, so he's not the strongest. He can still kick ass, but he's not as strong as he used to be when he first became Batman. And he resorted to using a gun, which is like a complete sin to him, while trying to rescue a kidnapped woman from a bunch of goons. So we fast forward 20 years into the future. It is the year 2039, and we stumble upon a man named Terry McGiggins. Terry is basically on his way home, and he ends up being stopped by a gang of jokers who are known to praise the Joker. So it's basically just like I said, the Jokers. This gang that dress up like the Joker, and they wear like the face paint and all that, and they just do a bunch of horrific crimes around Gotham City. While trying to stop the gang Jokers, he stumbles upon Bruce Wayne's manor, and he sees old man Bruce is pretty much whooping everybody's ass. They're like, oh, come on, bring it on, old man. And he's just like, shit, alright, let me put my cane down for a sec. And then just starts whooping ass. And it is the coolest thing to see the OG old man Bruce Wayne still kicking niggas' asses. So during that fight, he realizes and discovers that Bruce Wayne is Batman. Later on in the episode, his dad ends up getting murdered and he goes to Bruce Wayne to get help seeking revenge on whoever killed his father. So now I move on to Rebirth Part 2. So after Bruce Wayne refuses to help Terry seek revenge for his father's murder, he decides to steal this high-tech bat suit that Bruce Wayne was using to figure out who killed his father. So he stumbles upon someone from Wayne Powers Enterprise, and it turns out that it is from a bodyguard named Mr. Fix of Derek Powers, who I believe was the person who murdered his father. So he ends up getting in the fight with him and trying to figure out like what's going on, because they start to notice that they're using high-tech chemical stuff to create some biological nuclear weapon. And so in the midst of trying to escape after defeating the bodyguard Mr. Fix, Bruce Wayne himself ends up deactivating Terry's suit as punishment for stealing the suit in the first place. So after a lot of begging and pleading, Bruce Wayne comes to his senses and reactivates the suit, helping Terry escape. And he manages to escape, and Bruce Wayne decides to take him under his wing and train him to become the new Batman, while as a cover-up becoming Bruce Wayne's personal assistant. And what I really liked about Rebirth Parts 1 and 2 was that you kind of really get a background of like Bruce Wayne, how as he got older he's become even more stubborn. You see some of Bruce Wayne in a young Terry. You kind of get that similarity a bit with the two, which I think is another reason why Bruce Wayne kind of had him join his team and become the new Batman. So now we move on to episode 3, which is called Blackout. So this is around the time where Terry's just beginning to work for Bruce Wayne as his personal assistant, aka his training to become the next Batman, and he ends up facing off against a notorious shapeshifter known as Ink, who is trying to sabotage Foxtecca, who used to work with Wayne back in the day. And I will say Ink is a very mysterious kind of character too. It was a pretty interesting episode. You know, it was a pretty decent fight. It wasn't anything too special, nothing too like amazing within that battle. So now we move on to episode 4 called Golden. This episode is about a boy named Willie Watts. Your typical high school nerd, and he gets bullied a lot, especially by someone named Nelson Nash. And so he decides to sneak and use his father's construction robot to scare Nelson, but ends up gaining some kind of telepathic bonding. So now the robot is a part of him mentally, and he refuses to give up that power, even though Terry tries to talk him down of it, because he's so tired of getting picked on. A lot of big like kids programming networks try and like work on bullying, like, you know, Cartoon Network with their whole Stop Bullying. Nickelodeon's even done some stuff about it. Same thing with Disney Channel. But back then in, I want to say late 90s to early 2000s to even close to mid 2000s, a lot of kids WB shows really emphasized how important it is to stop bullying and what can trigger when someone is constantly bullied mentally and physically. It can damage them. Like I mentioned that in Static Shock with the episode titled Jimmy, where Jimmy ended up bringing a gun to school because he was having issues being bullied and he got sick and tired of it. Willie ends up kind of injuring some people and causing a lot of mayhem within Gotham, and eventually he's ended up locked up in Arkham Asylum. Episode 5, which is called Meltdown. And this one is about Wayne Powers building a new body for the once villain Victor Freeze, known as Mr. Freeze, in hopes that a similar treatment might be able to reverse the effects from what happened to Derek Powers. Bruce Wayne is hesitant that Victor Freeze has changed his ways, but Terry's holding on, and he thinks that Victor Freeze actually did turn over a new leaf. So now we move on to episode 6, which is called Heroes. So this one is about the Terrific Trio, who is a group of scientists who gained supernatural powers after an experiment gone haywire. So basically you get Freon, who is somewhat like your typical invisible woman. You get Magma, which is a guy basically just covered in like magma and rock, like volcano rock material, sort of like the Thing but on fire. 2D Man, who is someone who is like your typical Mr. Fantastic. It's the Fantastic Four, but there's 3 of them. It's like they combine Human Torch and a Thing into one superhero, a knockoff Visible Woman, and then a knockoff Mr. Fantastic. The Terrific Trio stops a group of bank robbers and does a bunch of other good deeds within Gotham City. They become an overnight sensation. But soon the 3 learn that it was not an accident, and that one of the scientists that they were working with the night that they were turned into what they are known as today. Turns out he did that out of spite because he was jealous of Magma. You know, he had the fame, the fortune, the success, and the love of Freon. And he purposely was not there that night because he knew what happened. But he did try to save Freon because he loves her. But eventually, you know, Terry comes in, starts whooping niggas' asses, and basically saves the day. So now we move on to episode 7 called Shriek. So Derek Powers hires a super villain-esque sound engineer called Shriek, who tries to use his powers to run Batman out of his share of the Wayne Powers company. He uses some weird kind of sonic sound thing to get in the head of Bruce Wayne, making him seem like as if he's going crazy, and eventually he ends up getting locked up within like some sort of like institution because people think he's literally gone insane, but he knows for a fact he's not insane. He knows someone is out there messing with him, and eventually after some investigation, Terry finds out, and eventually it gets to the point where when Terry defeats Shrink, ends up becoming deaf from all the amplified sound that went into his hearing system. So now we move on to episode 8, Dead Man's Hand. So after Terry is rejected by Dana, you know, high school drama, couple bullshit, he is, you know, doing that Dawson's Creek, walking along the city river, kind of just kicking his feet, real depressed, you know how every white teenage boy does in every fucking WB show. So then he stumbles upon fighting an old gang that Bruce Wayne used to face back in the day called the Royal Flush Gang, who are known to be notorious thieves who dress up in playing cards. So he stumbles upon this girl named Melanie, who ends up being the daughter or one of the members of the Royal Flush Gang. Terry doesn't know this. At first he meets Melanie just randomly on a night when she tried to escape after a bust, you know, with her family and stuff like that. You know, they hit it off. So Terry ends up finding out, basically that's it. You know, it's just they get locked up. Terry is like, well damn, I can't seem to get nothing during cuff season, man. This shit's whack. So now we move on to episode 9, The Winning Edge. So there's these things that are going around Terry's school called slappers, which essentially people slap these patches on their arms or on their body, and it gives them incredible superhuman strength, like the same level of strength as Bane. High school students, a group of 3 of them to be exact, I think 3 or 5, I can't remember, they end up using them to become better in their sport that they play, and then they use it to even take on like doing robberies and trying to steal shit. So Bruce Wayne has Terry investigate Bane because Bruce may think that Bane is up to no good again, but when Terry goes to visit, it turns out Bane is almost on the brink of death. He's like super ill from injecting all that poison into his body for so many years, and it got to the point where he overdid it and nearly practically killed himself. So now he's basically bedridden and ill. So it turns out it is Bane's caretaker, Chappelle, who is a scientist who uses that poisonous drug, and he injects it in himself, but he accidentally injects himself with so much of the slappers, he ends up becoming an abominable, unstoppable beast, doing just what Bane did to himself. He ends up working himself up, they're able to defeat him, and he ends up having to go to a hospital. So now we move on to episode 10, Spellbound. So a villain known as Spellbinder uses random citizens within Gotham and hypnotizes them to have them do a bunch of different robberies for him. And this is one of these quick, short episodes where there's really no like high-tech investigation into it. Bruce Wayne and Terry are able to take him down. It's not oh, we gotta do this elaborate, long filler of an investigation on who this dude is. Pretty much it to that episode. There's really not much I can really say about that. So now we move on to episode 11 called Disappearing Ink. So once again, Ink returns, but she's technically in a chronological freeze. A hopeless romantic employee who works at the said company is the one who keeps an eye on Freeze at night. He ends up developing strong feelings for Ink, and so Ink overhears a conversation, and when she's able to get free, she uses his love and manipulates manipulates him into helping her pull a bunch of strings and helping her plan all these robberies and takedowns. So it gets to the point where he becomes so obsessed with her that he ends up transforming himself into the same material that she is, but ends up messing up, becoming some weird goopy form that's not quite her. It's really sad because this man loved her. He was like, you know, you're the only one who listened to me. You're the only one who was there with me. I poured my heart and soul into you, woman, and you don't even love me. He's like, I bet. So I'm finna take this whole motherfucking city down, and I'm finna take you down with me, bitch. Throughout the thing, she's trying to get her revenge on Terry and Bruce, and this dude's trying to like hit them inky goopy walls, and she's like, nope, you fucking simp. And basically that dude ends up stuck in that goopy form for the rest of his life. Like, there's nothing they can do to fix him, unfortunately. So it's once again over here simping, getting caught up, and look what happened to you. You ain't got no job, you ain't got no home to go to, and you just a goopy hot mess. So now we move on to episode 12, A Touch of Kyrie. We get introduced to a deadly assassin named Kyrie who tries to go after DA Sam Young, who is Commissioner Barbara Gordon's husband. To my surprise, black. I'm like, okay, so they really doing interracial relationships in this. Cool. And so basically this whole game of cat and mouse, like, you know, Terry's like trying to fight her, but he's like, damn, she went up on me everything I'm trying to do. It's like she knows his moves and stuff like that. She's like really fucking shit up. So, like, she's out there like whooping ass. You kind of get like a background of Barbara Gordon and her background when she was Batgirl, and she opens up and she's like, I used to be Batgirl, I used to work for Bruce Wayne back in the day, and I hated his methods and I hated what he made us do, and yada yada yada. And Terry's like, you was alongside Batman, so what the fuck you tripping for? They kind of resolve everything. Kyrie escapes, and you know, it seems like there was some sort of little love connection between her and Terry. So now we move on to episode 13, Assassination. So basically Derek Powers' persona Blight starts to destroy his inner will, and basically any last sense of hope he has left. He turns to his son Paxton Powers to try and help, but Paxton has ulterior motives of his own. Yeah, I'm gonna help you, father, but secretly I'm gonna help, you know, Batman and all them, and I'm gonna help them take my father down. But in reality, I just want that money. And this big mess of things, Blight ends up getting destroyed. Fucking Terry saves the day. Everything's all peaches and cream. But essentially that was all of season 1 of Batman Beyond. So it's a nice season to kind of start off with the series. Obviously there's 2 more seasons I plan on reviewing on the channel. I'm currently halfway through season 2 right now, just rewatching it. And man, I don't know, season 2 is pretty damn good, but season 1 has some really good episodes. That is it for the season 1 review. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like. If you didn't, dislike it. And if you are new to the channel, subscribe. I'm trying to get to 100 subscribers by the end of 2020. And if we can hit 100 subscribers by the end of the year, that will be pure bliss. Let's try and get to 100 subscribers. So spread the word about your boy AfroGeek PlusUltraNappy. If you enjoyed the video or my videos, period, share them with your friends. Hit that bell to get notified. You can hit the all feature to get notified when I upload videos, period, or you can hit the personalized option to get notified when I upload every other video. If I was you, I would just click the all button, so that way you get notified when I upload every single video so you don't miss shit. Don't forget to check out my links in the description below. I'm talking Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and good old Patreon. If you want to do more to help support me in the future along with this channel, check out my Patreon. I got awesome tiers and awesome rewards on there for you to join, and it will definitely help make this channel bigger and better. But honestly, just clicking the video, liking the video, subscribing equals just the amount of same support as it were to become a tier member on my Patreon. But if you want to donate to your boy, help make this channel spicy, then donate. And if you want to check out my unboxing of Batman Beyond the Complete Series limited edition on Blu-ray, hit that link in the description below and check out the video. It's actually a really cool video, and I got some awesome stuff with it. Definitely check it out, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. I am AfroGeek PlusUltraNappy, and your boy is just